Hey, Tim, how are we going? It is Kaz, your lesbian ghoul. For those who don't know what's going on, I have been absolutely down and out. The last month, can we get a sound check? Some thumbs up, please, by the fantastic people of In the Trenches with Kaz. Read the ticker below. And we're here with a show tonight for you to give you a way of thinking. The last month, I've been down and out, as close as you get to not making it or making it to the other side for that matter. But that's not what tonight is about. I'd like to start by saying thank you to all of those that have supported me. And without you, it would have been very difficult. I've got a call out that I need to do, a couple of call outs. Actually, g'day, Nicole. How you going? North Korea, we call her. The very first one is going to go out to, bam, call out to North Korea, who is Nicole King. She is getting the Chick of the Month for her ongoing support to the injured dogs of the channel. We have several members. I nearly lost my life. Over the last 17 days, I was in hospital. I'm out. I'm not out of the woods, but my morale, I'm the happiest I've been in so long because I'm getting a second chance. I'm 52 years old. You know, it was my ex that called the ambulance when she realized in my voice there was something wrong, came around, found me face down, eyes open, dried tears on my cheeks, and I didn't have long to go. The paramedics came, they took me to hospital. 16 days later, I was out, and I'm still pretty well crippled. But apart from that, Nicole King stepped up. You know, she didn't go overboard. She kept a distance for myself and another member that has been in hospital too. And she just stayed in the periphery, and she just kept giving that support over and over and over again. She just became North Korea Chick of the Month. Well done. Can we get some thumbs up, please, for North Korea, Nicole King. G'day, Carl P. How you going? Wasp, how you going? Chris Card, alien, illegal alien. Isaac, somebody's crying. Above him, Navy veteran. Second choice for my career would be a Navy veteran. I'd love to be in the Navy because I love the ocean. I love the water, but I don't shower enough for the girls that are thinking of swiping right. The next one. Okay, so 14 platoon has just marched out of Kapuka. We always stand up for those that service, those that are serving. Okay, they are there for domestic and abroad threats to this country that is girt by sea, the country we call home, not as cool as poolside bars in Thailand, but a great bloody place to live. And you'd rather be there than at the moment than Palestine, which we'll be talking about tonight. Foxy, thank you for sending the videos of the camels. She's in Brisbane at the moment, and she's a fantastic person, and she is one of the better people of our channel. Fantastic. Lenny, how you going, mate? Simon Powell, Carl P. Look at that. Welcome back, brother. Our laws are still here. I'll be on soon. Our outlaws are still here. Okay, awesome. Guys, if you need to support the channel, okay, the way you can do that is either get onto Patreon in the links below, okay, or become a member, or just hit the bell and send a donation. All proceeds go to me helping other people or investing in my daughter's future through the ASX. And we'll be also talking about financial ways of offsetting mental health and preparing you for the best life here on in, knowing that you have options by delayed gratification that allows you to have a better future. So we'll do that. So 14 platoon has marched out. They're just getting to their initial employment training facilities right now. Okay, those in infantry, welcome to Kansas. It's about to start. And Nutsu Cow to the donation from Carl P., who is one of the guys that has transitioned, not sexually, from civilian, reservist, friend, and almost brother over the last 3 years. Okay, not far to the side of him is another guy who's one of our, also one of our moderators that are marked in blue there. Jennifer G, g'day, buddy. How you going, mate? North Queensland there. Isaac, Kaz, has your relationship with Elton John been restored yet? I'm not as sloppy in the cake hole as what I was, okay? But my left leg is blown out because I walked my dog. And from there, I basically overdid it and went through a goddamn world of hurt for 12 hours after that. And at the moment, I've got a lump like a black dick in the back of my leg. Righto. So we're going to move on. You guys are here tonight because you're probably thinking to yourself, I'd love to like this video, but I'm not sure yet. We've got videos to give a little bit of clarification. And the reason why we're speaking tonight is about how should I be thinking about what's happening in Israel and Palestine at the moment. We've got videos down here that we can watch for clarity and watch what happens when a reservist paratrooper who done his training 10 years ago is getting ready to cross H hour, the form-up point, okay, the line of departure, while his mother is on her knee at the same time, hoping, praying that he will come home from the righteous fight. Okay, before you start to think, this is an Israeli problem, they're as bad as each other. They are not. I worked in the region. I lived in the region. I was an Egyptian citizen. I worked for the MFO, the Multi-Force Organization at Camp El Gora in the Sinai Peninsula, which is the fucking fire that is outside the pan for the refugees that are being denied refugee status by the very Arab countries that actually are paying for the terrorism nation, which is Palestine and Gaza. They are not accepting them either. So don't get angry at Israel who are retaliating. There is no winners in this. There is only victims on every side. But believe me, if they get through that Rafah crossing, they have got hundreds and hundreds of kilometers across the Sinai Peninsula of the biggest sand trap on earth. It's not going to be pretty. It's sad as hell. And how do you determine who is innocent, who is not, who is part of the death cult, which is Hamas, okay, whose only job in life is to kill innocents? That's their only job. They have the chance to be a brickies labourer with no building standards on a building that will never be painted, or to take up an AK-47. They took up an AK-47, they hide amongst the innocent, and they attack the innocent. They don't want to meet soldiers. They want to meet your kids. They want to meet your family. And I'm going to explain that in a moment. Live there. I know what I'm talking about. Foxy Fox! Hope the channel video gives you some morale. Glad you're on the mend. I am on the mend, thanks to people like yourself, and not so Cal with a soft punch because you're a lady. Buckaroony, their asses will be puckering, but no one expected that this payback was going to happen the way it is. This has been the death of 1,000 cuts, and finally, they've said no more. Now we've seen the Hezbollah get hit, okay, to the north. Okay, we've seen Syria lose their airports for facilitating potentially the landing or potential for military strike. But the real enemy in this is not Iranian people, but it is the Iranian leadership who pays more than $300 million a year, okay, for Hamas to exist, giving them the option to be a contract killer instead of a builder or someone who chooses to hold the hand of a child or a woman and embrace freedom and the potential for hope of a future without conflict. Okay, so let's start getting through this. What I got? Okay, so we've also got guys in the School of Infantry that are headed out today for 2 weeks of offensive operations. That means doing section attacks, dry fire, not live fire, blank fire, to learn the tactics, the 4 phases of the attack, okay, including the complexities of flanking attacks, so that they are prepared for the following week, which will be their live fire, where your fitness must be in check. Because the less fit you are, okay, the more dangerous you are. The slowest man is the most dangerous man because they're at the rear. They've got the barrels float, okay, and they're the ones that can make mistakes. Dexterity disappears with fatigue. Landy Smurf, welcome back. Thank you, sir. All the water pipes to make the missiles. Okay. Buckaroony, all the Israeli female soldiers were too busy doing TikTok. Maybe. Honestly, when you go into the one thing that people don't understand is the demographics of Israel. Israel is versus the world, and they don't know why, and I don't know why. Because when you go to Israel, one thing I will tell you, they're a very, very left-leaning society. Oh, I don't normally like left-leaning society, but the men are beautiful, but feminine. I swear they've got a drip of soy that goes in their arm, but they are lovely. The women are gorgeous, but all of them are happy, despite the fact they are surrounded by every country that pledges to hate them and kill them when they find them lacking. Okay. We're going to have a quick look at something because where are we? Boom. Israel versus what seems like the world. Tell me like I'm 5 years old what I may not have yet considered. I'll talk to your comments, okay, and then I'm going to come back to this just so you can think about it, because I'm not saying you don't understand what's going on. What I'm saying is people don't know how to or what to think amongst the misinformation or the fact at the moment that all of this was perpetrated by Iranian-paid terrorist groups who live to kill innocent people, yet people are still looking at them like they're the victim. Don't get me wrong. There is so many victims in this, but Hamas is not one of them. They are not. Okay. So let's have a look at this. Gaza also has tons of tunnels. Yes, it does. At least for combat roles. Roger Ramjet, he's our man. I'm 57 years old, and all I want is to be back in uniform. Roger, every single day. If you're a uniform member and you're on this channel and you've got to have a fake name because our country doesn't fucking get it, that you are a walking, talking billboard for recruitment to a life that is outside university, a thing that is about service to the nation, pride and patriotism, I don't understand. You shouldn't have to change your name. You should be allowed to have opinions. Okay, we're one of the only countries we're not allowed to have a YouTube channel as a serving member, which again is a free application for recruiting. It's crazy. We do it so wrong. Our HR department, they need to get sent to New Zealand, the socialist country. Simon, A-10s have to be combat planes have to be the coolest. I think they're the coolest, Simon, but they don't really have a place in what's about to occur, and I'll be talking about that in a moment. Hero of the nation. Brad, g'day, Landy. How's Tassie? I love Tassie. I've never been there, but I wish I did. So let's explain this. Israel. So in Israel, I'm going to quickly put this map up for a second so that you can see it. I'll add it to the stage. All right, and let's have a look at where we can here. I'm trying to get maximum amount of view for you so you can't necessarily see my head. What I want you to do, because I can't actually get this picture by itself, is to have a look at the map that I've got large there. I know you can't see it properly, but it's the largest picture on the map where you can see Egypt, and then to the east you see Sinai, and then you can see in the orange, you can see Israel, and you can see Gaza. Okay, at the bottom of that Gaza strip is the Rafah border crossing into the Sinai. Sinai is Egypt. Okay, but that entire strip, there's not a fucking tree. It is freezing cold at night. It is boiling hot at day, and it is just sand. There is nothing waiting for you. There is no compassion waiting for you. There is a multi-force organization. There's two of them, actually. One to the north, which is called El Gora, and the second one is to the bottom on the Dead Sea, on the bottom of the peninsula, and that's at Sharm el Sheikh. When you start crossing there, there's no turning back. If you don't have a vehicle and you're not on a road and you're walking, you're in big strife because Egypt doesn't want you. Okay, let's look to Golden Heights, Syria, Jordan, Saudi Arabia. None of them. Okay, for starters, there's no path there, but they don't want the refugees either. And a refugee status means you go to the nearest country of asylum. So these guys have nowhere to go, and it's breaking my heart because there is women, children, and men that would rather hold the hand of their family than an AK-47, and the Palestinians also take out retributions on those, like it's the Salem witch trials, and they will take your life too if they think that you are dissident to their cause. Okay? So remember all that. So the top of the orange there, where it meets the Sinai, where I served, okay, head of security, there is a Rafah crossing. And that was closed. It was given false hope to the south, remembering that Israel gave 24 hours, nearly 36, 48 hours ago, for everyone, for 1 million people in the northern strip of the Gaza to move down to the southern so that they could get them out of the way, do soft knocks to warn them when a building is about to be leveled, okay, and let the combatants that are Army Reserve, up to 360,000 of them, make sure you guard the interior, Israel, okay, because you're going to get more surprise attacks, and there is hundreds of thousands of Arabs that live inside Israel as well. And we've got that in some of the video down here. So you don't know where you're safe. You are in big trouble. Your life is in danger today or tomorrow, and perpetually since 1948. This has been Jewish land since more than 500 BC, 1,000 years before Islam even existed. Remember that. What I got? Celestia, it's been a long time. Welcome back with the camel-coloured donation there. Great to have you back live and alive. Nutsu cow. I hope one more person either comes or goes, because we're on 66, which is 2/3 the devil's number. Okay, I hope you're enjoying this. Keep asking your questions. Also, West Bank is also another area again. And every one of these areas circling Israel also pledges for the destruction of Israel. We'll explain more about that. But one thing I wanted to say by saying that the relevance of me saying that Israel was there 500 years or more before Christ is the fact that you need to understand the Palestinians, the Jordanians, okay, the Lebanese, the Israelis, they're the same fucking people. They just chose a different religion. They're cousins by blood. It doesn't make sense. Okay? And the other thing, g'day, Bravo Charlie. Here you go, mate. All I want is peace. Me too, says Homer Simpson. The thing is that you need to understand as well is when you live in Israel, people are allowed to come, were allowed to come from Palestine into Israel. People are allowed to come from Lebanon into Israel, from Jordan into Israel. As a matter of fact, they do, and they habitate there. If you're in Israel, you're not allowed to go to Jordan. You're not allowed to go to Lebanon. You're not allowed to go to Palestine. You shouldn't go to Egypt. You know, your very passport can get you killed. So this is not a two-sided parity thing. If you're Israeli, you're a marked person. Be very fucking careful. It's not a game. But in saying that, they are a lovely people, and they allow those that are their cousins by blood to come into their country, coexist in peace. Believe that. I've lived there. I know it, and I've seen it. You know, and to all of those Egyptians that worked with me, and I was an Egyptian citizen for a while, and all of those that I met of the Arab nations that were there, I met some of the most amazing, beautiful people that were so giving. And this is why it breaks my heart, and there is no winners. Hey, Terry G, how you going, mate, from North Queensland? Right, so consider this. If you don't do anything to Israel, you're going to have a nice day today. You can get married, everything's cool, you go about your life. But as soon as you throw a rock at Israel and they throw one back, then they get upset, because everything is about the perception. Everything is about the narrative. Everything is about creating martyrdom. When you live in Palestine, you get the two choices. One, live your life doing hard labor, building business, entrepreneurial, father, whatever it is. Or at a certain age, it might be fucking 14, it might be 15, it might be 16, you get told by Iran that we are going to fund you for the rest of your life, and you'll never do a day's work other than carry an AK-47 or a rocket launcher, or a man pad. And from there, one day in your life, we're going to call upon you to fight and die as a martyr for Hamas. Or, okay, we will pay your family if you've done your mission. Your entire job is to live and exist as a contract killer. And there is no debate about that. That is what it is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to explain this to you. We can see the map. Your house is Israel. Okay, you've got a neighbor who's quite fine. Sinai, no big dramas. Attached to Egypt, they are Egypt. And then you've got Jordan, you've got Syria, you've got Gaza, etc. They're all houses. Gaza is a house. Okay, Syria is a house. Jordan is a house. Just below that, Saudi Arabia. You are living in a hostile neighborhood. All right, that's what's happening. Now, you know, as the father of that house, that they'll never come into your house while you're there. But you hear them talking openly across the backyard that one day when you're not there, they're going to come and target your children. We'll say you've got two. You've got a son, you've got a daughter, you've got a wife. They don't want you. They want your kids. They want your wife. They want to cause the maximum amount of shock damage while becoming a martyr themselves or getting home in order to do it again another day. And you can hear you can hear Gaza talking to Hezbollah, okay, Hamas talking to Hezbollah, and you know they're getting pocket money from Iran. And they're talking, they're laughing. You go to work, okay, you get a call from your wife, from your children, that one of them has been in the backyard. You go over and you find Hamas climbing back over the fence, but you catch him by his shoe and you pull him back over the fence and you punch the living fuck out of him. And go, next time I find you here, you're all over, buddy. And then you can see him sneering over the fence. And he's telling you what's going to happen when you are caught lacking, what he's going to do to your family. Okay, one day you get called again. He's either made it to one of your children, okay, or you've caught him back over the fence again, but this time he's armed. This time you grab him. He was able to come over to your door and you would have allowed him in to speak about it, to hope for a better future. But this time you catch him in the backyard and instead of helping him, instead of beating him up, you go, that's it. I know what you're here for. I know what you get paid to do. No more. And you decide, you know what? Wait here. You knock the prick out and then you run over and you grab the Hezbollah guy who was over the fence jeering and laughing, and he didn't realize that you were a little bit tough at that fence, and you grab that guy by his man bun and drag him over as well. And you decide it's not going to happen. They didn't expect this, but now you kill both of them. You have done what you had to do to protect your family. This doesn't mean you hate people from Lebanon. This doesn't mean you hate people from Gaza because they're your cousins. This means you grabbed the people that pledged to ruin your family and said, it's not going to happen on my watch, Black Wolf. It ends today. And that's exactly what's happening now. You're living in a hostile environment where they are making absolutely clear that their entire career is the end of your family and you've caught them in your yard. It's as simple as that. You don't hate the family, you hate the wolf. That's as easy as it gets. Mr. C, welcome to the Voice of the People. Nutsu Cow, thank you very much for supporting the channel. Very much appreciated. Now, yep, he knows exactly who BC is. Well done, Bucko. You picked it well. What do you think about that as an explanation, team, while you're pressing like if you can? Let's go quickly back up here. We'll put that down the bottom. Let us know what you think. And what we're about to do now is we're going to watch a little bit of a video to give you some clarification from an Army Reservist point of view from a channel, which is Ben Shapiro. I'm sure you've heard of him. Is he biased because he's Jewish? Maybe. But he also knows more about that region, than probably almost anyone. And then there's a channel that you should be subscribed to called Valuetainment. Valuetainment is talking to a journalist on the ground, American Jewish, who says something so profound, it made me feel sick. G'day, Gordo. G'day, Josh. G'day, Roger Ramjet. What he says is, I'll quickly let you know about this one, is that where he is, righto, in, where are we? There we are. Okay. Where he is living, okay, at the moment in Israel, the fear that he has as a journalist on the ground, as he explains, I am living in a hotel. Every day I go to a lobby and we are surrounded by death threats and what is going to happen next. He's going, all of our Westerners are inside these hotels and we are being served. We are working beside, and we are surrounded by Palestinians, Jordanians, Lebanese who work and reside and live in Israel. And he said, every time you have a meal, you are not sure if the chef is going to come out and start killing everyone in the restaurant. You don't know if they are completely innocent. You don't know if they side with you. You will never feel safe again because you were surrounded by the beast. And you won't know the difference between those behind those goat eyes of no emotion, of who is friend, who is foe, and who is going to snuff out you or your future. And that, having been someone that's been at genocides, is terrifying, absolutely terrifying when you can't identify the enemy. And that's the way they fight. Johnny Diggs, seeing Willie OAM, X7 Dig is reporting the Israel. Yeah, I saw that he's doing that. He's putting a lot of effort into it too, apparently. By all accounts, he's doing a great job. He segued very quickly from Ukraine to this. G'day, got my official letter of offer for the Navy on Friday. That's as good as it gets. You know, you're going to be changing your life. Change your name to Popeye. I'm proud of you. Okay, where are we? So let us know. Do you want to watch a little bit of a video so you can watch an Army reservist, okay, giving an explanation of what it feels like to be on the ground? He's done his training 10 years ago, has only had a few weeks follow-up training every single year, and is about to follow up into the FIBUA, the fighting in built-up areas, the most complex terrain that you can possibly go into with a minimal amount of training against a dedicated enemy that has no escape and is dedicated to taking as many of you with them, and a lot of them aren't afraid. This is not going to be a one-sided affair, because when they draw into, okay, Gaza, you know, what happens is there's a thing called RED, risk estimate distance, when you use indirect fires. Once you get within a certain distance, you can't use that anymore because you're in front of friendly troops. So when the weapons engage you on the ground with minimum training as a reservist who have got the heart of a lion until the first shots ring out, you don't know how you're going to react. But all of a sudden, you can completely overwhelm all of the command, control, and communications of the Israeli IDF by simply handing them so many communication dilemmas that they are unable to keep up. And then there's confusion, and then there is freeze, and then there is chaos, okay, and there is no winners. We're going to explain that. You're not going to get out of this fight without a bloody nose. Be sure. Once Hamas is gone, need to go in. Okay, this is going to be the total eradication of Hamas, followed by, I believe, potentially Hezbollah. They have realized that they are, at best, a gym boxer against a professional fighter, you know, and we are seeing a patriotism level that is unprecedented. Okay, you probably saw it in Ukraine as well. They are amalgamated to one mission, and that is the protection of their homeland. When you push people enough, eventually they fight back. Never corner someone and not expect a response that you can't handle. Righto. Call out North Korea, Israel. Okay. So let's watch a video for context about this paratrooper so that you can understand. Give us a thumbs up if you like this, team. We're here to give you a conversation. So when you go to work and when people are misdirected and don't understand how to think, or are victimizing or following the wrong side, okay, not that you have to take sides, because there is innocence on all sides. This is about humanity. This is about loving family, loving friends, loving peace, loving life. You only get it once. Don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. Okay. Sorry about the language, but guess what? We're freaking adults here, aren't we? Right. He is ready for a bit of a video for context. I hope so.
Is Rudy Rockman. Rudy is serving right now in harm's way. He's an IDF paratrooper in the reserve. He spent the first 4 days of the war in Kfar Aza. That is one of the hardest hit places in Israel where Hamas terrorists murdered over 100 people. And he saw firsthand the depravity.
okay, that number is well over 1,200 people now, okay, including the decapitation of babies, okay, including dragging females with no clothes on behind vehicles until they perished, including the beheading of old people and families in front of each other, including 250 people plus, okay, at a music festival, every single one of them unarmed. Finding people on the ground cowering, pretending to be dead, only to empty a magazine into their back. This is not what soldiers do. This is not what Israelis do. Don't get it twisted. Let's go.
Of what was happening right there. So, Rudy, first of all, I hope that you're healthy and hope that you stay healthy, and Godspeed on taking it to these pieces of human debris. I want to start by asking what your experiences were in going into Kfar Aza, because we're already seeing the Holocaust level rewriting in real time. It's pretty amazing. The Holocaust denial rewriting in real time, that nothing happened, is all fake.
Quickly, Dave just put a comment in there, and so did Dalico, a Navy guy, civilization versus barbarianism. The mission that was given for the Hamas fighters when they went across is to cause as much devastation as possible. But they weren't given individual detail to be as atrocious to civilians, to cousins. That was on them, and they did that by choice. By choice. Always remember that. They are not a victim at all. Here we go. This guy you're about to hear, Rudy, is a goddamn legend, and his public speaking ability is phenomenal.
That Hamas itself is attempting to walk this back and pretend it didn't kill civilians. What did you see when you went into Kfar Aza?
I mean, you have to understand that I'm a reservist soldier, so it's been 10 years that I've been out of the army. Now, we do training every single year to prepare for a day like this, but no one could have ever...
If you're an army reservist right now in Australia, you should understand that your signature has weight. It's not just a signature. You can be recalled, and your primary job disappears. This is now your job. Always remember that. This guy, 10 years ago, is being called up, and it might be for the rest of his life, which may be about to prematurely end. When he crosses that border and gets up from his knee across that line of departure, his mother will stay on her knees until he comes home, praying that she gets a son back, and she may not. This man may be on borrowed time right now.
Imagine or been prepared to see such savagery. On Saturday morning, Shabbat morning, also Sukkot, it was still holiday. I get called up by my reservist unit saying, come back to base. Within an hour, 2 hours, we were back on base. And an hour shortly after that, got sent straight to Kfar Aza. We got there were countless bodies of men, women, and children, not just shot, but stabbed to pieces, blown up, burned, the most horrendous scenes that you could ever imagine. And this wasn't a war zone of soldiers versus soldiers. This was a whole community that was attacked and completely annihilated. And so it was horrible to see, but this is why we're here. We're here to prevent this from happening.
Bam, prevent this from happening. Team, I have been in exactly the same position in Central Africa, except we weren't allowed to prevent anything because of our rules of engagement under the United Nations, and that should be identified as a war crime. I'm telling you now.
So, Rudy, how's morale on the ground? How are you doing? How's everybody there doing? I mean, obviously, we're in America, and in America, there's some distance, and as close as it feels, there's no distance over there. So, how's morale on the ground? What are people thinking?
Ben, as a Jew, we've been through a lot of things throughout our history, 4,000 years of history. All the greatest nations have come and tried to destroy us, and we've overcome. We've overcome because we've come together and we stick together. And that's exactly how we are in Israel. They can take our lives, but they can never take our morale, and they'll never be able to destroy us. So we're staying strong. We're preparing for the worst, but we're hoping for the best.
Australia, are we staying together, or are we a split nation? If you're as old as me, 52, okay, the country I grew up in was about patriotism, was about sports, was about brotherhood, was about acceptance. At the moment, the very leaders of our goddamn country are getting paid to waste taxpayers' money instead of relieving, okay, the problems they're causing economically, and trying to at the same time split up the nation while telling us we're goddamn racist for not accepting apartheid in our own country and allowing people to be treated by the color of their skin. Australia, we're girt by sea. You're Australian. You live in Australia, Australian citizen, we're one people, one flag.
So, Rudy, the world is there's been a very bifurcated reaction. The immediate response is obviously what Hamas did is terrible. Obviously what Hamas did is evil. We'll light up buildings with blue and white, the Israeli flag in Nuremberg, and the Israeli flag on the Arch of Titus and all the rest. But I think everybody who's been following, what goes on in Israel is expecting, and it's already beginning to happen, the shift in tone as Israel does what it has to do in the Gaza Strip. So first of all, what is the goal in the Gaza Strip? And second of all, why do you think that the world is immediately shifting into defense mode for Hamas?
Well, first of all, the goal in the Gaza Strip would be to take out Hamas and to save the Israeli citizens who've been kidnapped. It's not only to free Israelis from the terror that Hamas is doing, but also to free the Palestinians. I mean, the majority of the Palestinians in Gaza are human beings, innocent like anywhere else, any other population. And they also suffer under Hamas. Not a lot of people say, well, we don't hear them speaking. Well, there's no freedom of speech under Hamas. If you say anything, you'd be automatically killed. So we need to remove Hamas and Hezbollah and other authorities that are completely dictatorships over the Palestinian people and the people of the region, and they're forcing them down. Now, in terms of why the narrative is turning against Israel and people are supporting Hamas, well, they didn't care about Palestinians when they were dying by the thousands in the Syrian civil war. They didn't care about Arabs and Muslims when they were being killed by the thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, in different massacres. They care about this issue because it has to do now with the Jewish people in Israel. And the world is obsessed with Israel. If you look at the far right, they see us as the left. The far left sees us as the right. You look at the black supremacists, the Farrakhan's, they blame us for being the problem. You look at the white supremacists, they blame us for being the source of the problem. You look at the communists, they blame us for being the capitalists. The capitalists blame us for being the communists. The death of Jesus, blamed on the Jews. The economic situation post-World War I, blamed on the Jews. The Black Plague, blamed on Jews. COVID, blamed on the Jews. Literally anything and everything that's wrong with this world, it's always blamed on the Jews. And the one thing that all extremist groups agree on is that the Jew is the source of the problem. So this effort of trying to support Palestinians is not really to help Palestinians. It's a way to attack Israel. And I do support Palestinians because Palestinians are our cousin.
What a beautiful comment by a man, a combatant who might be about to lose his life, going into harm's way, the crucible, and he still has compassion for those, which tells you his rules of engagement, the way he engages is going to be solid. He is not going there to harm anyone but the wolf. I'm proud of this man. You can hear the frustration in his voice that he faces this hatred and never knows why. Okay. This really opened my eyes up. It really did. He speaks so well, and you could tell that he would embrace those, okay, that are willing to escape. And the anger at the moment should be Egypt. Why aren't you taking these refugees? Why aren't you? That's what I'm wondering. Why is the gate closed? They've even got Westerners that are trapped at the Rafah border who are going, it's closed. They're not letting us out. This is a humanitarian tragedy that is heartbreaking, but it's also being facilitated by the very Arab nations that hate Israel as well. It doesn't make sense.
30 to 60% of Palestinians actually descend from Jews that were forcibly converted to Christianity and Islam over time. So we're much more related than we think. But we need to create a reality here where we can transcend our differences and build something to achieve our aspirations. But it doesn't happen with Hamas clouding our minds and manipulating narratives in order to convince people that the only way to help human lives is to be against Israel and the Jewish people. That's the issue here.
So, Rudy, obviously everybody's expecting a ground assault on the Gaza Strip in the coming days. The Israeli Air Force has been pummeling Gaza City. The Israeli Air Force obviously has been warning everybody, despite all of the media coverage suggesting that Israel is seeking to maximize civilian casualties. Hamas is obviously seeking to maximize civilian casualties by telling people to stay in the area. What do you expect upon arrival in the Gaza Strip?
Bam, you're talking, what he said then. Pitch yourself in Rudy's point of view. He's got the clothing of a reservist, not a regular soldier. Don't get it mixed up. There is a massive difference between reservist infantry who trained 10 years ago or done 1 year in tourist in tourist facilities, okay, to do their national service, and a regular soldier, okay, who is trained, who has skill sets that are now dexterity, motor skill, instinctive abilities, where you're able to shut off emotion and actually be able to conduct your standard operating procedures, where you've got dedicated leadership, dedicated equipment, dedicated specialists, and understand how to do everything like a pit crew of an F1 McLaren. There's a massive difference between those with skill fade, fog of war, maybe a bigger heart than what their ability, potentially a lack of fitness, okay, that are about to go into harm's way. He's asking him, before he knows what's about to happen, he doesn't know what his fate's about to be, but he is fully dedicated to go in there and know that if he faces the wolf, that's the best chance of saving his family tomorrow. I take my hat off to this guy. I'm very, very proud of him. And I really do hope that the Palestinian innocent people are able to get out of Dodge so that these people can do their job. Okay. Joining Hamas, it's a choice. Remember that.
I mean, we hope we don't have to do that, because I know that if I go into Gaza, my entire unit, not all of us are coming back out. And that's the sad, unfortunate reality. We're prepared to do it, and we know that we're most likely going to have to do it. But the reality is that I don't want to take any life, and I don't want any of my friends' life to be taken. But
hearing the message, I like it. And that's the way I've always treated my career. And if you join the army, that's the way I want you to treat your career. You're not there to take a life. You're there to serve. Okay? But 40 minutes. Yeah, I see that, Simon. Thank you very much.
right now we're in this situation. We have to deal with it. Hamas is to be taken out, and we're ready. If that's what it's coming to, that's what it's going to come to. But I think after the smoke settles, we need to all look in the mirror and realize, how can we change this, and not just understand the what. You know, when they're talking about Palestinians dying, well, why are they dying? Let's not just talk about the what. If you only talk about the what, then you don't care about changing. You know, you go to a doctor, you tell the doctor your symptoms, they're going to try to find the source of where those symptoms are coming from. So Palestinians dying are a symptom of Hamas shooting rockets onto Israeli civilians from civilian areas from their end. They're shooting rockets from schools, from kindergartens, from universities, from households. And what does Israel do? Israel has no other choice but to fire back. And in an amazing...
And that is the fact of the matter, team. And that even goes for us. If you take fire within rules of engagement, okay, in a conflict zone, it doesn't matter if it is a protected place, school, church, hospital. However, it is strategic. What happens is, where that window comes from, and potentially a window to either side, you are allowed to engage that target. They have given up their protective status. And that is absolutely fine to shoot into a hospital, to shoot into a school, to shoot into a religious place, because they have just taken it off the chessboard and made it a military installation by doing so. And it is a goddamn cruel way to fight a war, to force people to hurt civilians so that you can create a narrative that shows adversity, that shows bloodshed spilt by innocents, because you choose to hide amongst the weak, amongst those that can't defend themselves, amongst the non-combatants, and allow that to occur, while still remembering that Hamas target their own if they think they're against the narrative. You know, just put that in context.
Amazing way, Israel tries to prevent casualties by sending SMSs, by calling the phones of people in the region, telling them to leave, by sending a knocker bomb, which is a pre-bomb that's just like a loud firecracker noise to let people know that there's an actual bomb coming, by sending leaflets through a drone written in Arabic, warning people. It's trying to do everything possible to minimize casualties. But Hamas not only wants to maximize the casualties on the Jewish side, it wants to maximize the casualties also on the Palestinian side. Why? In order for them to sell this narrative to the world that they're suffering, and for billions of dollars to run. And all those leaders, not only of Hamas, but also the Palestinian Authority, why are they billionaires? It's not because they invested in cryptocurrency at the right time. It's because they're making money off of the dead civilians that they are oppressing. And we need to put an end to that.
Wow. So, Rudy, you're in the reserves. One of the big issues that people in the United States have been seeing is a lot of requests for resources to the reserves. You have a website that we will drop in the notes here. It's israel.raisegiving.com/causes/frontlines if you want to give. A lot of questions about why exactly there needs to be material shipped over there. Why are there shortages? So maybe you can explain in the first place why exactly the IDF doesn't already have all this stuff ready. Because I've been hearing this as well. They're short bulletproof helmets, vests, magazines, water pouches.
I can answer that question. The economic cost of maintaining humans, paying them, outfitting them is insane. Okay, you also have to keep up with the speed of technology, as the equipment that Rudy was wearing 10 years ago has now been superseded by the equipment that is being issued now. So there's catch up. The sad thing is these soldiers that are about to cross the border, these reservists, okay, the longer they've been out of the game for, okay, what happens is everything they've been taught is now faded. That's a scary prospect. These guys are not going to get time to do a mission event list where they take out and practice and train and do repetitive training for what they're about to face. So in many ways, they're getting thrown unprepared into the fire themselves. Okay. Ed B, glad to see you. G'day, USA. How you going? Hamas sounds exactly like how the Russians describe Ukraine. What I find strange is how the majority of them support Hamas. There is no valid reason, okay, to support a terrorist group that targets children instead of soldiers.
I think that they should have been better prepared for this sort of thing.
I mean, Ben, we went into war and some of my friends went with running shoes. We didn't even have enough boots, knee pads, vests, helmets. Those are the basic things that we need to be able to defend our land. And as reservists, obviously, we have less accessible resources than those that are currently in the Army. And the Army was not prepared for this, unfortunately. And so, yes, we do need help right now. You know, although we're on the front lines, the people that are behind us are the people that are supporting us. And we did create this site in order to buy gear for the reservist units for us to be better prepared in the next mission we go to.
Well, that is Rudy Rockman. Good luck. Hatzlacha rabah. Chazak v'ematz. Really appreciate on behalf of all Westerners, Americans, and obviously Jews, what you're doing to, and all of your compatriots in arms are doing in order to rid the world of the scourge that is Hamas. Stay safe out there.
Okay. Peace to Rudy. I hope he gets home safely. And let's hope he doesn't have to pull the trigger on his M4. Guys and gals, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people. Put yourself in a perspective. I'm not going to move on to the next channel because I think you get the gist of what I'm talking about here. I know I look like a lesbian ghoul at the moment. I get that too. But you've got people that potentially haven't trained for 10 years. And they went from being at dinner, being with their friends, okay, to now, okay, being called up, no notice. The training you did 10 years ago is enough. You are now going to go 10 years older, 10 years less fit, okay, into the battle zone against a dedicated enemy that absolutely wants to kill you in the most cruel kind of way. All while you're over there doing that, they're creeping around your country in tentacles, waiting to target your family while you're away, and understanding that there is hostages, over 150 of them, a lot of them nationals and a couple of Australians. All you can do is pray that they have been killed by a direct, indirect weapon system, because you're not going to get them back. And we don't want to see videos. And I'll warn you now, do not go on Telegram or all these things and try to find videos of the atrocities, because you can give yourself post-traumatic stress and never get that out of your head again. Don't look at it. It's not entertainment. Moz, you can't imagine going to battle without the years of training we had. Just can't imagine. Neither can I. It's a shame that Israel doesn't take foreign volunteers. They do. But you have to have been Israeli. Okay? You can have too many people in one location. We're talking about an area 40 kilometers long and 10 kilometers wide. It could take 1 million soldiers to clear that. I get it. But you've only got so much of a frontage, and what you can't afford is a concertina, okay, of complexity with command communications, with languages, etc., or people coming there because they just want to fight. FMC. Wait, you said Israelis can't go into Palestine. Isn't that not true? They can go into Palestine. Isn't that the whole issue that Israel settlers in the West Bank? They can go into West Bank, but Palestine, you don't ever go there unless you're in an army formation into Palestine. Palestine got paid to do this attack. They did not. They thought that this was going to go back to, yep, we won, lost some martyrs, okay, and now it goes back to tit for tat again. No, Israel said no more. They said this is where it ends. Now they've hit Syria. Now they've hit Lebanon. Now they've hit an ongoing and enduring campaign where Hamas will and should be killed to the man. No prisoners, ever. No prisoners, ever. I saw the Palestinian representative on 60 Minutes said that only engaged military people. What a joke. They will lie to your face, man. They will lie to your face. Welcome back to the land of the living. Jadok, Nutsu Cow. I hope you're enjoying this. We're going to get off here in a second. But it's important that you understand how to think. You know, not what to think, but how to think. And that is sympathy for the innocents. Because if you live in Palestine, in the Gaza, you're just as scared of Hamas as what you are scared of indirect fires. You are almost born with PTSD of what's coming next and that you haven't done anything to bring on what's coming. But no one understands, no one knows who is innocent and who is not. Okay. Eats. There you go, mate. What are the chances of Australia getting deployed over there? None. For Australia to get called in there, you would already see Americans fully engaged on the ground. They are there as a deterrent to any stakeholders that try to get involved in this. That's what they're for, or potentially further humanitarian efforts. Jadok, do you think this could lead to WW3? No. Israel is going to win this emphatically, and they're going to put an end not just to Hamas. If I was Hezbollah, I'd be making sure I'm packing some double fucking undies because they're going to be shitting themselves soon when the focus goes to them, especially if they show their head. Will the US get serious and send in Chuck Norris? Apparently he's already there. Yeah. He's responsible for 15% of the buildings being knocked down with shin kicks. Yeah, it's a scary thing. Okay. We've got some news to let you know. Let's conclude with that. And let's say a prayer to the innocents inside Gaza, the innocents inside Jordan, the innocents inside Egypt. Okay, what the innocents are about to go through, even if they get through the Rafah crossing, you know, that they're about to now cross hundreds and hundreds of kilometers of sand dunes, especially if they don't have a car, by an unwelcome Egyptian society. Okay, because would you allow terrorists into your nation? They're not terrorists. How do you know? How do you know? You don't. Okay, so with that out the way, prayers to the Israelis that are about to go into the crucible and those that are living with the enemy that living amongst them. There is no happy ending here. What we're about to see is a biblical moment within the crucible, which is going to determine the entire future of where people sit within the Middle East. And we're going to see the righteous, okay, taking hellfire to those that threw the first stone. And it's sad. It breaks my heart, you know, and I mean that with every part of my spiritual being. I do. Hey, Act Daddy, not so cow. Thank you very much. Thank you to any of those that support the channel, understanding that you support me in what I do. I rarely catch things on camera anymore because I've heard your message that it is cringeworthy to see what happens when people catch beautiful deeds on camera only to give them self-exposure and highlight that for self-promotion. Now, saying that, what I want you to know, a beautiful moment happened a couple of days ago where Taz, one of my best friends from New Zealand, 2nd 1st Battalion, came to give me support in my medical situation. He turned up and we went to the club and we had dinner. Now, he only had a couple of hours to give to me. His legs are fucked from doing kickboxing. My legs are trashed from atrophy. Okay, they're less than chicken legs. There's not even enough meat on the bone to get salmonella if you're a shark. And we went into the club. We went to a restaurant. I allowed him to choose. He chose Chinese. We went to Chinese and a man came in with a walking stick and his family. I had a very serious conversation with Taz. And we sat there and we spoke about the old times, the hard times, the fun times. And then from there, it was very spiritual as well. And I decided this is the time that Patreon does its thing. And Mr. Buckaroonie knows exactly what I'm about to talk about here. So I said to him, I'm going to make you feel very special. And if you're in Patreon, I'm going to make you feel special. So what happened was I looked at this guy. He had a daughter. He had his wife. They were all dressed up, but he looked like he was beaten man. Okay. He looked like he's in perpetual pain with his walking stick, and he was younger than me. We went up, we paid for the meal for my friend, and I'd said to the Asian chef, okay, what I want you to do is keep feeding this guy until he starts to fall asleep in his chair. That happened. He didn't fall asleep. We went up and paid for our bill. And then I said to Taz, do you remember the guy over behind us with the walking stick? And they goes, yeah. I said, okay, let's do him a solid. This is Patreon in action. I said to the guy, I'm going to pay for the meal on table 87. And he said to me, do you know those people? I said, no. He said, why would you do that? I said, because they don't expect it. And because that man looks like he's had better days. He goes, do you want to know how much it costs? I said, I don't care how much it costs. Because if it's something I could afford easily, I wouldn't feel like I'm doing something special. It has to be something that hurts financially. It hurt financially. I still don't know how much it cost. Okay, but we paid for that meal. We got the receipt. I didn't look at the receipt. We went over, we introduced ourselves that this is Taz from the New Zealand Army. I'm Kaz from the Australian Army. Neither one of us serves now, but we looked over and we saw what a lovely family you look like. You know, I can't walk properly. My friend can't walk properly. You can't walk properly. Your bill today for your family is now covered. We put the receipt down. I said, I don't know how much it cost. He said, I can't accept that. I said to him, well, I don't think this restaurant takes refunds. And we wished them well. You wouldn't believe what happened. The daughter looked at us like, what is going on, mummy? What is going on, daddy? Okay. And the mother put her hand on her chest and just started openly crying because she couldn't believe that out of nowhere, people came forward and showed compassion to their family when they least expected it. And then we quickly got out of there and let them have their day and told them that soldiers still serve after service. So my friend, when I got downstairs, and believe me, this guy is a tough motherfucker. You don't want to stuff with this guy. And we got downstairs and he went through a moment, which I believe was spiritual contemplation. And he just stopped me once we got outside where it didn't look weird. And he gave me a hug and he put his arms around and he squeezed me like a brother would. And he said, that is the most beautiful thing I've ever been part of. And you've changed the way I look at life. And all of that is possible because of myself, because of Patreon, and what you do to support this channel to be different and not catch it on camera to make it a dirty moment for someone who is the recipient of the beauty and the spirituality and the better half of my life that is about giving that you make possible. So every time you make a donation, every time you think, what is Kaz doing now? It doesn't matter if I'm sick. It doesn't matter if I'm happy. It doesn't matter if I'm healthy. I'm always representing you. You know, and it is the greatest pleasure in life that the second half of my life is going to be greater than the first half. And I want you to have that in your life. Guardian, not too cow, thank you very much. And when I'm not doing this, I'm also putting money into the stock market in case I don't last too much longer, so that my daughter has some sort of way of being looked after, okay, by her father's legacy. And when I'm not doing that, I've got another project that's going to happen to do with hospitals. But I've got another project that I want to let you know about. And I'm going to let you know right now, even though most people won't see this because it's the end of a stream. When I get off the phone, the computer right now, for the Patreon members, at the moment there's 193. I hope that one day we get to 10,000 so I can share more. I'm buying a Republican Roman army. Models 28mm, and every person that is on Patreon will now see, as I paint these models, that you'll be represented one for one on the battlefield. You are going to have a physical representation of yourself, name dedicated to a model of a painted Roman Republican soldier just before they became the Marian reforms, which was the birth of the professional army. And I dedicate that to you, and I hope you like it. And if you're in Patreon, it's going to be a pleasure to read out the role as you see yourself unpainted painted representation. Bam. Landy Smurf, thank you. Legend of the Fall. Thank you very much. Mr. Buckaroony, you don't have to do that. You're retired, sir. Thank you for the curry donation. What's a cow? And guys and gals, I can't wait to start this project to give back to you as you're part of what I believe is one of the best channels on YouTube. Not because of just me, but because of you and the lack of trolls that we get in to YouTube, which should be, by rights, a bloody troll magnet. Prayers to Israel, prayers to your family, and prayers to a better future. And let's remember, what you do before you're 50 determines how life is after 50. Guys and gals, the world is not perfect. We're seeing it through the lens. But what you can do is control those around you, protect those around you. You can't save them all, but you can try. See you later. Dedicated, love, and respect. Buckaroony, thank you very much. Thumbs up to all of you. Jordan Carney, welcome to the voice of the people. Nutsu Cow, thumbs up for Jordan. Okay, River Jordan. And guys, I'm fucking back. Thank you. I'm back. See you later. Woo! And all the best, Rudy.